Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. In today's episode, I am sharing with you a recording that I did for a bookkeeper who sent me some questions on the email. So she sent me a nice long email and told me a lot of information, and I was recording a response knowing that maybe I would share it with you, maybe I wouldn't. So I just had a bit of a listen, and I have decided that it is something that is valuable to share with everyone. So let me tell you a bit about this particular podcast. I've called it Time, Tech and Team because this particular bookkeeper, so she's in Australia, she's been in practice for a very long time, maybe, goodness gracious, I'm just thinking a couple of decades easily. And she has 25 really, really good clients. Her workload did increase quite a bit recently from those clients having some more work. She has not had a weekend off in months, and she's just really time poor. Like, time is missing, joy is missing. She's got this beautiful hobby that she's not getting to, which just breaks my heart. There's also a big gap in her tech skills, which she's now beginning to feel quite kind of like, I need to, she says, I've got antiquated systems, I need to fix all that up. And while, yes, she does, when I take a bird's eye view, I'm seeing the strengths. Like, I'm seeing someone who's been in practice for a long time. I'm seeing someone that probably knows how to keep promises, because it sounds like she will move heaven and earth to keep her promises to her clients. And that is just at the heart and soul, okay? And for me, if I get a bookkeeper who can actually do that, it's just, the baseline that I've got to work with. So I'm seeing a whole lot of positives, but I'm also seeing someone at a fork in the road, because she said that she's quickly gone to get a casual to help. And that always makes me very nervous, because when you go from being a solopreneur, which she is, okay, to recruiting your first staff member, it can actually cause more problems than it solves. So in this episode, I call her Kate for privacy reasons. I talked to Kate about how to basically solve the time problem. So I have no time. I talked to her about how to actually use our blueprint to bring on team. And I so wish I could just get everyone to use our blueprint, because it makes everything work. It makes everything easy. I see what happens when bookkeepers use a different methodology, a different system, and when bookkeepers use our blueprint. And it just, I wish I could get everyone to use it. So I explain how to bring on team using our blueprint, but also how to solve Kate's tech problem, because she doesn't actually need to get amazing at tech in 2 seconds. Do I recommend she goes on a journey to improve her tech skills over time in order to future-proof, blah, blah, blah? Yes, I do. But I actually far more recommend that we take the solid base that Kate has and we do the smart thing in business, which is to win the game with the winning team, which is to recruit someone to support our zone of genius, okay? And that's exactly what I recommend to Kate. So in this episode called Time, Tech and Team, what I'd like for you to take away from it is how to really plan to bring on team properly, what it looks like the actual numbers, how bringing on team in one way can solve a problem and in another way can actually create more problems, and actually how you can solve a whole bunch of problems if you use our blueprint around team. So I do think this episode will be really valuable for everyone, all the bookkeepers out there in the community all around the world. So let's get stuck into it. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice 6-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The strategic bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group, or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Okay, so I'm jumping on to respond to the email. As I record this audio, I'm not sure if I'll make it a public podcast, which I only do if I think that your questions are questions that other bookkeepers are going to have, and that answering them publicly is going to serve them. Firstly, thank you for the email, and I've read it through a couple of times so that I could, in my little notes here, I've noted down what I call the real problems, and then problems as you note them, and a few other notes that I've got, okay? And everything you've told me is completely relevant, which is awesome. So if I understand you correctly, you are a bookkeeper who's been in practice for a very long time. You've got a good little bookkeeping practice. It's just you, so you're solo, flying solo, and you've got 25 clients. Problem number one, no work-life balance. Now, I would summarize that, because one of the things that I always want to know from bookkeepers is income and time, okay? So I dropped in a podcast before recording this, and it's called Plan for Success. So please listen to that podcast, because that's going to be excellent for you, okay? So basically, it's like income and time. Now, I don't see in the email if your income is at a level that you're happy with or not, and that is relevant to when we get into talking about team, which is something that you've made quite clear, and it's quite obvious that we need to talk about. So right now, the issue is that your workload has increased a lot again. You now are working constantly round the clock. The canary in the coal mine is dying, as I like to say, because you've explained to me one of your main hobbies, which is absolutely beautiful, okay? And that you are not getting time for that. And I can totally relate to that, because my hobbies like dancing, like going to the gym, like movement generally, I love moving, I love cooking. If I'm not getting enough time to nurture my physical, mental, spiritual health, then the canary in the coal mine is dying. So that's happening for you. Okay. So we need to free up time in your bookkeeping practice and increase your time wealth. Okay. So we've got income and we've got time wealth. Number two, I know you feel like you've been left behind when it comes to tech, and that you say you're using antiquated systems. You have explained to me that you've got handwritten a bit of a checklist for what you do for each one of your 25 clients, and you've got an arch lever folder. There is actually aspects of that I love, okay? You are a solopreneur, and as I talk about in my book, bookkeepers often want to put more energy into standard operating procedures than they need to. What you need when you're solo versus what you need when you bring somebody on is very, very different. You've also noted that you've gone to the Australian Bookkeeper Network, which I'm part of as well. I love them. And you've got some templates, and you're trying to work through a job description template and that kind of thing, and you are wasting time. Now, as you know, and I sent you that message separately, Kate, the answer to a lot of your problems is joining the program. And I know that you are going to join, but that we need to talk about some immediate solutions. And I will talk to you separate to this about how we can work together immediately, because that's what I think is actually required to give you some things that you need. Okay, so it's free up time. Then I want to talk about the fact that you're behind with kind of tech stuff. I want to tackle that. And then I want to also tackle how to basically find and onboard the right team member to support you. Okay, and not necessarily in that order, but it's free up time, deal with the gap in your tech knowledge, and bring on staff. Now, you've also asked me if I can refer you to someone who's good with graphics and templates, but you mentioned MYOB software. So I'm not 100% crystal clear whether you mean graphics just for that kind of thing, so that's more like delivery of work, or whether you mean graphics to round out other things in your bookkeeping practice, okay? But that can be kind of answered when I tackle team in a second. And actually, all those problems will be solved in the same way. So I'll explain that in a second as well. Now, also, you mentioned that you've been bringing on a casual to help. So something that I notice in my program when I'm working with bookkeepers is, on the whole, they're making all the mistakes I made around systems and team. And so we've actually developed a blueprint for the best kind of way to recruit someone. A quick word on how to work with me. You can join the waitlist for the Strategic Bookkeeper Transformation Program, which is a world-class, world first, described by members as mind-blowing, which typically pays for itself within a month and has a full money-back guarantee. Simply go to thestrategicbookkeeper.global/waitlist. I also have a pricing academy with a calculator and my entire suite of productized services, plus other courses and resources on my website. Email me if you have any questions, okay? And the best kind of profile, etc., to get exactly the help that you need in your bookkeeping practice. And we've tested it, we've measured it, we've improved it, and we've got tribe members just saying, oh my goodness, it works, okay? And then when tribe members do their own thing and don't use the blueprint, it just doesn't work and they have a lot of issues. So my preference would be that we recruit a full-time person for you. However, as I said, there is a blueprint for that, and you're going to need to reserve about 30,000 Australian dollars a year for that person, and they are going to be able to basically do everything: the bookkeeping, the practice administration, the general administration, the marketing administration, everything, okay? Oh, and the other thing is the gap in your tech skill, that person's going to be able to fill all of that, okay? So about $600 a week. And what is not clear to me in that email is if you can budget $600 a week for this person, bearing in mind, if you are recruiting a casual person here in Australia, that person would normally be at least, say, $45 an hour, maybe more. So that's 600 divided by at least 45, maybe more like 50 with super. You're only going to get 13 hours out of that person. So a casual can easily work out to about the same. Now, what I'm telling you is the blueprint, and what I'm telling you is black and white, and what I'm telling you is factual, and it's kind of one of two things. Use the blueprint and enjoy the benefits and the results. And I like to say, see bunnies and rainbows. Don't use the blueprint and go through all the pain that everybody else goes through and I've been through as well, okay? Now, there are a few other moving parts, like making sure that we help you to be the leader and the manager that you need to be. That tiny little statement is game changing. Now, let's presume for a minute that you've got the $600 a week budget to be able to recruit this full-time person. So that means you'll sacrifice about $30,000 of your income to have a full-time person, okay? Now, normally when I'm working with bookkeepers, this is also about freeing them up to scale. While they're recruiting, sometimes I get them to press pause and we just have a wait list, which is great, because what we see with wait lists is all that happens is, in terms of the 6 pillars of persuasion, everybody's foaming to work with you once you go to waitlist, because all it's doing is elevating your profile and also the proof that you're worth working with. So just like my experience, that I've never, ever, ever lost a prospect when I went to waitlist, we've just seen that with the tribe as well, okay? So if you wanted to scale and bring on more work, you can do that with this full-time person as well. And when I say bring on more work, you've already got 25 clients. I mean, the diamonds at your feet is to basically increase your work level from your existing database, and there are systems and processes for that, but that is absolutely the smartest way to generate more business in your practice if you recruit a full-timer, and then eventually you've got the capacity to do that, okay? So that's going to fix the tech issue problem, because this person, when you get them on full time and you use our blueprint, which means you've got this fabulous person that can help you with absolutely everything. I should go back a step and say the smart thing that leaders and managers should understand, and one of my tribe members said this recently, she said, Jeannie, I'm recruiting the full-timer just like your blueprint explains to us, and I'm recruiting someone better than me. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. We are meant to recruit people better than us. Okay. Our blueprint would see you recruit someone that has all the tech skills, okay, so that they can support you. And this is also called, and I've got it in my notes when I was looking at this email, I thought, you know what Kate needs to do? She needs to start with you. And what I mean by that, do the psychometric testing that's inside our book. But even more simple than that, you've just told me I'm not good with tech, right? Now, team and start with you. So start with you, a part of that being your wealth dynamics profile, your entrepreneurial profile, but even just your strengths, your weaknesses, what we call your zone of genius. How you win the game is to recruit a team, of people that support your zone of genius. And your zone of genius means that there are other areas that are not your zone of genius, and that's what you recruit, okay? So the gaps in your tech abilities are not problematic for me, because I know that how we win the game is we recruit team. And actually, Kate, the fact that you've got these beautiful handwritten checklists per client, my goodness, sounds amazing. You sound like a bookkeeper who's able to keep her promises and actually will move heaven and earth to do so. I actually love that you've got a simple system of arch lever folders. All this stuff is the perfect baseline to bring on this full-time all-rounder, as we like to call them. So come inside the program, because you know that's what we need you to do, and you've already said you want to do that. So come inside the program. We give you done for you standard operating procedures, right? A bookkeeper joined during our last intake, and she was in front of me the other day in open coaching, and she said to me, her bookkeeping practice is really busy. Like, they're not that far off $1 million a year in revenue. So why would she join me? Well, she wanted to increase her profit. Okay, just her profit, not her revenue. And she said that she thought they were pretty efficient until she saw our systems, okay? And now she's going to spend the next year stripping out the inefficiencies. And as she becomes more efficient, that's just money. Her gross profit is going to go up and up and up and up. And her net profit as well, but primarily the gross profit. And she will be able to extract probably 6 figures in profit from her bookkeeping practice just by efficiency. Okay, so don't underestimate the power of the standard operating procedures. But Kate, let me tell you right now, you are the worst person to look at this stuff and implement it. That's not what you should be doing as the head of your organization, okay? This is ideal for this all-rounder to do. And from my point of view, it's actually good that you haven't gone and onboarded the wrong kind of stuff. When I saw you saying you're bringing on the casual, I thought, no, stop, okay? Because that's not our blueprint. And I see what happens with bookkeepers when they do that, okay? Trust me, I've been there, done that. And what used to work is very different these days. Okay. So there was a time where that worked better, but we have found this amazing blueprint. Bookkeepers all over the world are using it when it comes to team. And I can tell you right now, it's exactly what you need. Okay. So you come inside the program, get those standard operating procedures. Let us help you to get that full-time all-rounder. Keep putting the hours and the attitude in, because it does take a while, okay, to get that person. It takes somewhere between 30 and 90 days, because if you think of it this way, oftentimes those people are already employed. They have to give 30 days notice. Let's say you're lucky enough to find them on day 15 of the recruitment process, then they will give notice, and that's a 45-day. Now, it does happen sometimes that they don't have to give that much notice, but you're better off looking at it as somewhere between 1 and 3 months to get that person, okay? Now, I know that you're overdue with recruiting, so hearing that when you're working as hard as you are probably makes you feel like, oh my goodness. And so when you come into the program, there's one other little thing that I can do to help you, and that is to just help you get short-term help. And I'm doing this with another bookkeeper where for her it was like, oh my goodness, it's going to be 1 to 3 months, and she's got really, really busy, okay? She's got busy inside the program. When she joined us, she was living off her savings. months. She's now got an income of $125,000 a year, a profit for herself as a solopreneur, and she is on massive wait list, and she's recruiting a full-timer and struggling to even keep up, okay? But what I said to her is that we can possibly have a short-term solution, and I know what that looks like, okay? So we can help you with that as well. Now, the other thing that I will say in terms of making the space to work through the program, you don't have to worry too much. Like, the way that I would frame it up is you come in and ideally, I want to go on a forever journey with you. So just to explain that, so your first year inside the program is the transformation program, okay? And then beyond that, we're finding about 70% of our bookkeepers are electing to stay all in, and they move through to the graduate club, and we just keep working together to support them, okay? So when you come into the program, you've got like a smorgasbord to choose from, and you take what you need when you need it. And sometimes you'll be in there more engaged, taking more. Other times it's like a toolkit that you've got at your side and you just reach in for what you need, okay? And I have got quite a few bookkeepers who are doing really, really well that use it in exactly that way. They'll be like, Jeannie, I haven't even managed to look anything for 2 months, but I know I can jump in and get what I need when I need it, okay? So from my point of view, and from my experience, from everything I see inside the program, it's all about just getting started and really using it as that comprehensive toolkit forever that you can just reach into and get anything that you need and want, okay? So now that is a wrap on the response to your email, and I will chat to you soon. Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So what are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got two options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.